Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm currently traveling abroad for work, but after spending some time on the new Cairo Bazaar map, I wanted to get some thoughts out there while everything's still fresh. When the map was announced, I was honestly pretty excited. Grand Bazaar is one of my favorite maps from Battlefield 3. I love those close quarter infantry fights through the center of the map, but also how vehicles could still influence the battle around those edges. So naturally I had pretty high expectations going into this remake. Unfortunately, after putting some time into it, I'm a little less impressed than I expected to be. That's not to say it's bad. I actually think there are some really strong moments here, but there are also some issues that keep it from being one of my favorite maps so far. So in this video, I'll walk through what I like, what I don't like, and where I think Cairo Bazaar lands overall. Let's start with the positives. So the best part of this map is definitely the infantry combat. The central corridor is chaotic, fast-paced, and constantly active, and if you're looking for action, you're almost guaranteed to find it here every match. What I especially like is that, unlike the original Grand Bazaar, there are now more opportunities to flank and reposition. Some of the routes connecting the A, B, and C side of the map create interesting decisions and prevent the center from becoming a complete stalemate. I've had a lot of moments where I was able to break through a defensive position simply by taking a slightly different route than everyone else, and that's something Battlefield maps need in my opinion, and I think Cairo Bazaar generally succeeds there. I also think the vehicle balance is fairly reasonable. Vehicles still matter, but they don't completely dominate the map. Most of the action is infantry focused in the center, while still allowing armor to influence the outcome of a match. Where I think the map starts to struggle is with overall flow and balance across the different game modes. So right now Breakthrough only has 3 sectors, and honestly every round I've played has felt almost identical. The attacking team pushes through the same bottlenecks, the defending team holds the same positions, and there just aren't many memorable moments developing from match to match. These lanes are extremely predictable. And that's not always a bad thing, but in this case it feels restrictive rather than strategic. After several rounds, I found myself already knowing exactly how the match was going to play out. So for me, that's a sign that the map isn't creating enough variety. Conquest is definitely where Cairo Bazaar shines the most. The map feels larger, the flanking routes become more valuable, and there's some freedom to approach objectives in different ways. However, I still think there are some objective design issues. The biggest example for me is the E objective. Because the area becomes almost completely destroyed every match, it often turns into this wide open space with very little meaningful cover. Once one team establishes control, it becomes difficult to break that hold. Compare that to some of the other objectives along the A to C lane where there are multiple approaches, different sight lines, and opportunities to outplay opponents. That's where I think the map is at its strongest. One thing that surprised me was the absence of escalation. I understand why it wasn't included. The center of the map is already chaotic enough, so adding escalation objectives probably would have turned it into complete madness, but honestly, I kind of wanted that. Battlefield is at its best when it occasionally embraces that chaos, and the center of Cairo Bazaar already feels like a giant fight over one objective anyway, so I would have liked to see DICE lean into that and give us an escalation version just to see how it played, and I think this would have separated itself from Siege of Cairo and some of the other similar maps. My biggest criticism isn't actually the layout itself though, it's that Cairo Bazaar feels a little too familiar. We already have maps like Siege of Cairo and Iberian Offensive that provide a lot of the same experiences. Dense infantry combat, urban fighting, tight corridors, close range engagements. Cairo Bazaar does some of those things very well, but I don't know that it brings enough new ideas to justify all the excitement that came with this announcement. That's ultimately what left me feeling a little disappointed here. So where does that leave Cairo Bazaar overall? For me, it's a solid 7 out of 10. The center corridor creates some fantastic infantry battles, the additional flanking routes are a nice improvement, conquest can genuinely be fun, but the repetitive breakthrough experience, some questionable objective design, and the overall lack of novelty hold it back from being one of the best maps in the game. It's good, I just don't think it's great. Looking ahead, there are definitely other classic maps I'd love to see return. Wake Island is always fun, although we've seen that one fairly recently. Personally, I'd be much more excited for something like Strike at Karkin. That's a map I'd love to see rebuilt for Battlefield 6. But honestly, I still prefer brand new maps over remasters. Nostalgia is great, but I'd rather see the game continue to build its own identity and create fresh experiences. That's one reason I'm already looking forward to the Super Reef map in Season 4, which will bring in the naval battles. Anyways, that's going to do it for this one. Let me know what you think of Cairo Bazaar in the comments. Do you enjoy the remastered maps, or would you also rather see entirely new content moving forward? As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Be sure to spread some positivity, and I'll see you in the next one.